Shemai Pawb. Hello everybody, welcome to my wild Welsh garden. Well, it's another glorious morning in my wild Welsh garden. We're having a spell of the most unseasonal, warm, sunny weather. So I thought I'd slip in an extra video this week because there's so much going on in the garden. Everything's growing, so much colour. There's so many things shooting and sprouting and everything's greening. And all the little trees in my tiny forest have got leaves on, and the forget-me-nots are out, and it's looking just as I wanted it to look. I've removed all the dead stems from the borders now, and I've bundled them up and tied them places. Tied them in trees and on the trellis in the corner. Quick tadpole update. Yes, they're still here, quite a lot of them. They're in the sunshine here. It looks like they're eating the algae off the pond liner. And there's a few swimming around. I don't think they've started to get their back legs yet. And I'm really pleased to be able to say that there are lots of insects in the garden. Lots of bumblebees, honeybees, hoverflies, ordinary flies. I've just rescued this lovely solitary bee from the polytunnel. Oh, gone. And I'm actually feeling really bad about this because there's lots of solitary bees and hoverflies and flies inside the polytunnel, and they can't get out because that door doesn't open, never has. But maybe I can make a window in it. So there you go, I've cut a hole in the mesh and made a window. So all the little flies and bees and things that are all up there hopefully will find their way out. Oh, do you think I'm daft? I feel a bit daft really. But spent all last year saying every insect is precious, and so I just can't let all these little insects just die, because that's what will happen if they stay in here. See, there's another one of those lovely red bees. I'll see if I can get him on a leaf and put him out, or her. No, it did not want to go onto a leaf, so I've caught it in a pot on a piece of card. So go on, little bee, you can fly away. And live your best little bee life. In my last video, I talked about the best flowers in my garden for the early pollinators. So the best early flowering plants. And most of those are still going on. Still lots of primroses. But of course they've been joined now by so many others, like these lovely forget-me-nots. But I think for me, the stars of the show in the garden at the moment are the dandelions. This is a lovely little show just outside the potting shed with a self-seeded forget-me-not. And this is outside the summer house. And this is the lawn. Do you know, when I first came, I tried to remove all the dandelions from the lawn. And then I just thought, why are you doing this? Just enjoy the dandelions. And of course, it's not just me that enjoys them. These have been buzzing with insects all afternoon. The honeybees are particularly partial to dandelions. But there's been bumblebees, hoverflies, solitary bees. So I decided I would do the first fit count of the year. Fit count stands for flower insect timed count. And what it involves is counting the number of pollinators that visit a certain flower within a 50 centimetre square during a 10-minute time period. So it's just a really nice, relaxing way to spend a warm, sunny afternoon. And this is how I measure the 50 centimetre square. I made this a couple of years ago when I started doing the fit count, just out of cardboard. So I just chuck the square down on the ground, count how many dandelions are inside it, and then start the timer, count how many insects visit them within the 10-minute period. So I've just completed the fit count and I saw 12 insects. I saw 4 honeybees, 3 solitary bees, 3 hoverflies, and 2 just other sorts of flies that I couldn't put into any category really. And I looked up the records from last year because I started doing this 2 years ago, but I didn't do it in April. I didn't start 2 years ago until June. So I only have one set of April records, which was last year. And I didn't start counting this early. And that was because the weather was so dreadful. Because it has to be fine. It has to be 15 degrees if it's cloudy, 13 degrees if it's sunny. And it obviously was never that warm or that dry until the 22nd of April. And then I just saw 3 honeybees. So no wild bees at all, no wild insects at all. Yeah, so a vast, huge improvement on last year, and all, I would say, because of the weather. So it just shows how quickly insects can recover if they're just given the chance. Isn't that just perfect, that flower? But actually, it isn't a flower. That's lots of flowers, because the dandelion and the daisy too are composite. They're composed of lots of little flowers. So each one of these that looks like a petal is actually a flower. The name dandelion comes from, now you'll have to excuse my French accent, Dandilion, which means lion's tooth, because each of those little petals is supposed to look like a lion's tooth. And interestingly, in Welsh, it's Dandilion, which is the lion's tooth. And in addition to being really great food for pollinators, they're also edible to humans too. So you can eat the flowers and the leaves, put them in your salad. You can make dandelion wine. You can make dandelion and burdock drink. You can make dandelion honey, I believe. And then, of course, there's all the herbal and medicinal properties that I really don't know much about at all. And not to mention the fact that the leaves are the food plant of all sorts of insects. So it's just an all-round amazingly good plant. There's actually 7 different flowers in this lawn at the moment. There's dandelions, there's celandine and daisies and primrose and 1 solitary dog violet. There's cowslips. I've only just planted these. That one's in flower, and then there's one there and one over there, but they're not in flower yet, so we'll have to wait and see whether they like it in my lawn. And then the last one is this flower here, which is the cuckoo flower, or the lady's smock, or it's also called milkmaids or mayflower, which kind of suggests it goes on flowering for a while because there's buds here, so there's more to come. And I grew these from leaf cuttings that I took from a plant in the field up on the hill behind my house. And you know, I don't remember planting them here at all, but I do remember planting them there, and I also remember planting them over there by the mushroom. But there's no sign of any flowers yet, so we'll just have to wait and see later on in the season if any appear. And the reason why I planted them, I mean, apart from the fact that they just look fabulous, a patch of cuckoo flowers in the grass in the spring, is that they're the larval food plant of the orange tip butterfly and the green veined white butterfly. And I do think I've seen both of those in the garden so far this spring. So yeah, wouldn't it be lovely if they'd been found by the butterflies and there were some eggs and I was going to have caterpillars. So I live in hope. I live in hope. This is a queen red-tailed bumblebee. You can tell because she's got a red tail. And I just found her in my kitchen, walking along my window ledge, and brought her out here and put her on a dandelion. And yeah, she's obviously very hungry. Well, it's after 5 now, and the shadows are lengthening, almost 2/3 of the way across the lawn. And the dandelions are closing up now, and the birds are starting their sort of evening chorus. There's a robin there and a blackbird. So yeah, after a hard afternoon, after a very strenuous afternoon, counting pollinators and filming pollinators, I'm having a well-earned rest and a well-earned glass of wine. So thanks for watching, thanks for joining me in my wild Welsh garden. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in following my exciting adventures, wilding my garden and coming across all the different wildlife that I find here. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Wildflowers.